At the corner of Ballymore Road and Saxer Avenue here in Springfield. Pam a visit. Get here this week for your mother's sake. You better get her something nice, custom style. I'll see you tomorrow for another Live Uncut. Behave yourself. Be safe and be well.
Today is a very active day right here in and around the city of Philadelphia. You do have two of our winter sports teams that are in playoff action. I'm talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. They're going to be in New York playing the Nets, game one of the second round of the playoffs there. And then we have the Philadelphia Flyers. They remain in Raleigh for game two of the second round of the playoff series there. We're going to have two guys from PHLY. One is their Sixers expert. One is their Flyers expert coming up in the moments ahead. We're going to be with you live today until 2 p.m. We're also going to talk about that strange virus that is responsible, according to medicine and according to doctors, for killing people on board a cruise ship. We're going to talk to Dr. Christian about that, but we're going to begin right here in Philadelphia. There is a cleanup opportunity happening. We're going to listen in.
Captain program. There is a way for people to get involved. Don't complain about the conditions of your neighborhood if you're not going to get involved to help turn them around. Work with us to get the job done. We are here. We are out here. We're going to be around the city for 13 weeks, but at any time throughout the year, we are more than willing and committed to staying with you to address any issue in your neighborhood and community. Please don't go on social media and talk about us, but don't give the address of where the problem is. You do nothing but rage bait. We are trying to get people involved, and we want to fix the problem. Tell us where the problem is so that we can come address it. Don't put me on Facebook and start talking about how bad a job the city is doing, but don't tell me where the problem is. Give us the opportunity to work with you to address these issues and problems. Make sure that you get involved with your neighborhoods. Become a block captain. Get involved with your community. There's so many things you could do, and you can join the fight, too, to make Philadelphia a safer, cleaner, greener Philadelphia. Thank you so much for everyone. We'll keep y'all involved. We'll join the fight. Mayor Sherrell Parker and the city of Philadelphia is one Philly, a united city, one America, a united nation. We are working together to get things done, not only for America 250, but beyond. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everybody.
Are we okay with what's happening? All right, welcome back in, everybody. One of the things that we're checking in all day, like I mentioned, is sports. We're talking about two of your teams from the winter, and it is May, still in playoff action. So we do have experts that are going to join us both that want to talk about your Fly Guys and also about the Sixers. Remember, it was a very historic Game 7 against the Celtics on Saturday night. It has been since before the Allen Iverson era that your Sixers have won a Game 7 against the Celtics. So those are two big topics that you're talking about, so we're talking about them as well. The other thing that is happening, the mayor of Philadelphia is part of a very big unit today. They're talking about a number of things. We're going to go live to the press conference that she's involved in right now.
So it took a guy like myself with a lot of spunk to try to help change the trajectory of what happened up in this entertainment industry. And so I'm proud to say in 2026 that the landscape is a lot different, right?
Yeah.
The phone rings from major entertainers wanting to come play.
Yeah.
And you know, it took the work of all of this, including the consumers and the ticket buyers, and we can't forget the vendors that come outside and the smoke is in the air from the grills that makes this the essence of entertainment and a special place that we all love to come. It's just not about what you see, it's the things that you don't see that contributes to the health and the beauty of the Dell Music Center. So I'm happy to be a part, and we will continue to have the best acts on this stage. My partner is Bill Ingram. He is one of the best marketers in the country, and so And so for him to light up this universe that everybody in every city knows about the Dell, like we have a team that's unbelievable. If we were a basketball team, we would beat our own Sixers. And so I'm just grateful, and I thank all of you.
Yeah.
So this is just about to be over. But Mayor, you know, Make the World Better, they do various projects, and all the funding that they raise goes to parks and recreation facilities, parks, playgrounds. They have their concerts here, and every penny that they raise goes back to parks and recreation.
Yeah.
I have Jesse and Tony here. Jesse, Tony, one of you, both of you come up. I need you to say something, because they're having these concerts right here at the Dell, and every last one of their concerts sell out. They're also putting us on the map for people that would not otherwise come to the Dell Music Center. Carnival worked with me. 2010 is when I met with him, and we've been working together. And we open this venue up, and they sell out every one of their concerts, and every penny goes to Parks and Recreation. I asked Jesse to be here just to talk about that partnership, because it takes all of us. It's one Philly.
One Philly. Yeah, well, let me just do this. Can you give it up for Jesse Rendell, please?
Thank you. Honored to be here. This is obviously a momentous occasion, and all the work you guys have done with Adele is fantastic. And I actually, not a lot of people know this, I used to be in a touring band for about 4 or 5 years, so I've seen venues all across the country, and this one stacks up with anything that I've been to. It's a beautiful place.
Wow.
Make the World Better Foundation has been working with the city of Philadelphia since as early as 2013. Former Philadelphia Eagle Connor Barwin founded the organization, and we, together with the city of Philadelphia and all of our project partners, have invested over $30 million into Philadelphia parks and recreation sites. You know, this venue is so unique, and in our partnership, no project that we do could we do without the partnership with the city, without the Parks and Rec Department. And so for us, we started having these concerts back in 2013 at Union Transfer, right? So over on Spring Garden Street, and that's a place where all the indie bands go, and you know, it's kind of your typical place. Great place, Tony. But to come here, to bring the concert here to a place where this group of people typically doesn't get to experience, you know, to see the wonder is the Dell, and then to apply all the proceeds from that concert to the projects we're working on with the city of Philadelphia. There's obviously no better venue that we can have our shows in. And so this year we got 2 shows, July 24th and 25th. We have a pre-show tailgate event that we set up out in the park. It's really like unlike anything else. Hopefully it won't be 98 degrees, but we'll take that over thunderstorms. But it's a wonderful venue. This is a wonderful occasion. We appreciate you guys for your support, and we look forward to partnering with you for years to come.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Jesse.
And real quick, shout out to Tony, because by the way, you know, just like Faye does all the, and I'm not saying you don't do the hard work here, Susan, but I know Faye is the muscle here. Tony has been the muscle for these shows. Our partners at R5 Productions, they book the bands. You know, Tony has been killing it, and so thank you, Tony.
So, Madam Mayor, we have Jeff Bradshaw for you. This is a Philly sound, y'all. This is Philly all day long, 250 years. Philly sound.
What's up,
I
Philly?
think they're good.
Let's go, Jeff! What's up, Philly? Hey. Did you cut off?
All right, so there you see it. The mayor, along with the Parks and Recreation, are kicking off their schedule. Interestingly, Mayor Parker, the current mayor, and we heard from Jesse Rendell, who is the former mayor. They called him at one point the mayor of the United States, Ed Rendell. So Ed Rendell's son, Jesse, who is the guy who has teamed up with Connor Barwin, a former Eagle, and they have that foundation called Make the World Better Foundation. They did the Diplo run last year, so they're all about getting music involved as a way to fundraise for schools and buildings and all kinds of infrastructure here in the city of Philadelphia. At the same time, one of our photographers is on a story. It's basically a tree that might have fallen into a house. And we do want to look at that because, so this is at North 27th Street. Yes. Okay, thank you, Phil. And so, yeah, look at that. That is not something that I think no one was expecting, because today the weather's perfect. These are the types of images we expect and we see certainly in the suburbs when there are heavy amounts of rain, heavy amounts of wind, and you combine those environmental factors with old trees. But we don't see this a lot, where it's a beautiful day, no wind, mild conditions, and there is a tree into a house, and it looks like the top part of that tree broke into the home. Elaine Fisher is on this story for us, and we do love when she's with us because she can really help us tell the story of what is happening. So yeah, as you can see up there on the upper floors, it looks like that tree went right into the house. We have no information about if there were people inside, when exactly this happened, or if there's any reason, but this is a story that we will continue to stay on top of. At the same time, it's the 1400 block of North 27th, if you're worried about that. One of the things that the world is kind of looking at and searching right now, they're trying to figure out what the hantavirus is. Why? Well, there's an outbreak on a cruise ship in Cape Verde, and I do believe 2 people have died. They're trying to evacuate people who have contracted that virus. We do have Dr. Christian with us, who is someone we lean on. First of all, hey, Dr. Christian.
Hello, Jen. Good to see you.
You too. So what is hantavirus, and am I even pronouncing it correctly?
I think you pronounce it correctly. And this is a type of virus that can infect the lungs of most people. And it's actually something that we don't see quite a bit, because normally when we think about infections or things that affect people, it's maybe a virus that comes from one person to the next. But this is a case where it's actually in the environment. So rodents, mice will release this in their feces or urine. And then when people inhale them, this then leads to this disease that we talk about, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome.
It's not person to person. Does that mean there are mice or other rodents on this cruise ship?
That is likely the case, because this is not something somebody will bring onto the ship as like if you have a COVID or some type of viral infection. So this is likely something that's in the environment. So this is what we consider an environmental exposure. Something in the environment, people got exposed to it. And this is very different, and it depends on multiple things. 2 people can have the same exposure in an environment. One person will get sick, the other person will not get sick. So it's a function of the people's health. So if you have a lot of stresses, you have comorbid conditions, you're not as healthy, you're more likely to be more affected by this virus than somebody who's healthy.
And you know, when we look at these things, and it's top Google trending right now, which is one of the reasons why we reached out, there are people that are going on cruise ships for the summer. May is an amazing time to cruise because it's warm, but it's before hurricane season. So this is not any kind of an alert that you would give to your people who love to be on a cruise. This is a very hyper-specific incident, yes?
Absolutely, because this is not very classical of the type of spread that we see on cruises. So this is more of an environment thing. So I think it's a function of the individuals who own these vessels to really control that environment, so that's not an issue. So this is something that I think it can be very contained, and even people becoming aware of it. Again, the individuals that are providing these trips have to make sure that we don't have any rodents on the ship. And I'm assuming this is not coming from people bringing in their bags or things like that. So this is not something that people have to worry about because it's very rare.
And you said pulmonary. We know that people die very quickly when they get this and they're affected by it. Are you assuming, we remember with COVID, people who had lung diseases were affected more than other people. So if they're already, compromised in terms of their lungs, are they more susceptible for something like this?
That is the idea, and it's very specific. This is actually a disease that we don't have. I apologize for this.
No worries.
We don't have a good way to diagnose it, and so when this gets into your lungs, initially people may have some fatigue, some fever, some muscle aches. Those are the main symptoms they have. And then if you're somebody that already have COPD, or you're a smoker, or you have some other risk factors that affect your lungs, then you're more likely to have an issue with this. And this is also something that we don't really actually have a great treatment for. We don't really have any way of treating this, but only supportive therapies.
All right. Dr. Christian, thank you for breaking it down. We feel terribly for the people that are affected. We feel great that it's isolated and it's so far away. Thank you for making the time. We know you're a busy guy.
Thank you so much for having me. And then what I would say to people is that always stay healthy. When you're healthy and you get exposed to these things, you have better resilience to manage and come out on the other side in a positive direction.
But Dr. Christian, you know what's happening. We have the Flyers in the playoffs. We have the Sixers in the playoffs. We have eating and drinking and late nighting to do.
We should do all of that and still do a little bit of exercise. And in fact, even being engaged in community, caring about your team and your community, all of that is actually very good for health and longevity. We just have to be careful and do things in moderation.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We are going to talk about these teams. We're going to talk to Devin Givens. He's the guy who covers the Sixers for PHLY. You want the inside track? I'm going to give it to you. Also, some of our shows are going to go up to New York, be there in person. We'll talk about all of it in 2 minutes. All right, guys, this is the type of marathon that people in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware want. We want our winter teams playing in May. So here you have it. So one of the things I've done to help you guys through this playoff stint, I'm creating a daily schedule for you. Most of you have to go to work or even sit in front of a computer, and I want that to get done, because how are you going to pay for playoff tickets? Then do your dinner, have a beer, whatever it is that you need to do. Maybe, you need to drop off some kids at a sporting event. Maybe you're carpooling. And then this is the lineup. It goes your Phillies, your Flyers, and then your Sixers. Your Sixers will be in New York City. They're going to be taking on the Knicks. And so the last time this happened, it did not end well. That is a live picture of New York City. The Met Gala will be there later today. There is a lot happening there. Big, epic, historic Game 7. Finally, the Sixers beat the Celtics. So now we need to move on. One of the guys that's going to help us do that is Devon Gibbons. He is a PHLY host focused on the Sixers. First of all, hey there.
Hey, Jen. How are you?
I'm great. All right, towards the end of that game, the big man, Joel Embiid, did not look healthy. He looked like he was limping. He looked lethargic. We saw them put something on his tummy. And yet, he was a big reason for this win. Do you think he plays tonight?
I do. I do. It doesn't seem like anything that was bothering him in that latter part of the fourth quarter in game number 7 is going to hold him back. And after seeing him speak to the media after the game initially on television, the things that he said at the podium, although jokingly about he was faking and he's faking his the limp that looks like might have been really injured. I see no way where he sits this one out to start. Battling through everything after the appendix surgery, I do think he's good to go for tonight.
So, us mere mortals, we were, hanging out yesterday, and I'm like, does he get an IV treatment? Is there a Theragun in his future? How much work will the team have to do to get him ready for tonight? And I do mean physically, not mentally.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with the knee injuries and all, they'll check that out and make sure that's fine. I'm sure they do that immediately after the game, and of course on the day off between travel days, with between Sunday and Saturday and Sunday, where we are right now. And as far as he had some protection where it looked like kind of like a back brace, as you said, for the mere mortals, for us, like a little bit of a back brace that you would have on, and that's what it looked like he has, and he's been wearing since he returned after the surgery. So they'll just continue to give him that type of treatment, make sure that he's good enough to go. Theragun if it works out for him overall. But he will be ready, and they will make sure he's ready, able to absorb the contact. There's some big guys in that front court in New York. There's going to be a lot more physicality in this one than we may have seen in the 4 games that he played against the Boston Celtics. Not that those guys are not big guys, but these are some physical front court players that New York has, and they will make sure that he's prepared to go.
So the other thing is, we talked about it a little bit last week. VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, they want to play with Joel. They want to win for Joel. And you saw a big piece of that, certainly with Tyrese and Joel in Game 7 specifically. It's finally the team that Joel has needed to be around him, right?
Yeah, nice balance. You have the co-star and Tyrese Maxey that's emerging more than just a co-star, where he is right along the lines of Joel Embiid in terms of the face of the franchise, and being able to have someone like VJ Edgecombe as a young player stepping up into Game 7, giving you 20-plus points, also helping you out on the rebounding side, assisting, and also, very importantly, the defense that he plays on any of the wings that he has out there. So to be able to have that and hear Joel Embiid speak about the players that he has had alongside of him in the past. And he made sure that he was very clear that he wasn't knocking any of those players that he has had in the past where he's gotten to the second round, but they had not advanced. He feels very comfortable with Tyrese Maxey, a fellow All-Star, most likely an All-NBA performer this season, VJ Edgecombe, and even Paul George. I'm sure we'll get to him, but having those 3 guys that he can count on where a double team comes his way, he's not worried about making the pass to the right player because he knows that the trust is there for them. So I would take from that the experiences that he has had with his former teammates in the past, not advancing in the second round, and also just his growth and development as a player and trusting those teammates. And it just simply helps that they are very talented as well.
Devon, you seem like a very serious guy. On this show, we like it when it's spicy. And Karl Anthony Towns versus Joel Embiid plans to get spicy. Is it fair to say these two hate each other?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay,
When you step in between the lines, though, everything is off limits, and we all can go back to the Minnesota Philadelphia battle in South Philly, where they got into their scuffle and Ben Simmons had Karl Anthony Towns in the chokehold. I think part of it, though, Jen, is the spiciness of it is Joel Embiid has Karl Anthony Towns' numbers.
Woo!
He obviously he scores the points on him. He gets him into foul trouble, which takes him out of the game. But this is going to be a pretty good matchup, because those where they used to battle that way, those in the past were where Joel was a little more healthier when we talk about where he is today. And Towns likes to put the ball on the floor, catch and go immediately, make quick decisions, and try to drive by his defender. And that's maybe the assignment tonight for Joel Embiid, to see how that one plays out. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see how the assignments are defensively, the matchups that they have, how much Towns and Joel Embiid, of course, but do they go in another direction where maybe Joel is off on Josh Hart, potentially gets back to Towns? But it will get spicy at some point. These teams do not like each other. The fan bases do not like each other. This is going to be a fun one.
Okay, 2 last quick questions as we wrap it up. I forgot about Paul George. We all forgot about Paul George, but then we had to remind ourselves he can be, a big part of this team. What do you predict there?
He's looked really good. Since he's returned from the suspension, he made it very clear that he owed it to the fan base, his teammates, the organization, to come back and play for exactly what they signed and brought him in here to do. He's been fantastic as a two-way player, giving that player on the wing, to your point of having some help for Joel Embiid, where you can throw the ball to him and he can create his own shot, whether it's against the shot clock late or in the flow of the offense, where he just simply has it going from either the three-point range, the mid-range that he likes to score from, or getting to the basket, recognizing that he can put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, and also finding his teammates. So I expect him to have a pretty good series. He looks fantastic in the Boston series, and picking his spots where they can take turns and have their moments within the 48 minutes of the game. And I think he's again up for the challenge, and this is again why they brought him here. So going against the two wings and Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, it's going to be a tough task there, as well as Josh Hart. But he fared pretty well against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in the last series.
Devon, the moment has come. These are 2 very important questions, and I need direct answers. No spin around sports guy nonsense. Do they win tonight? Do they win the series? 2 different questions. Don't even with this. No one wants that. Do they win tonight?
They have a good chance to win tonight, Jen. Yes, they do.
Do they win the series?
Yes, they do.
Do they win the series? They
have a very good chance to win the series as well, Jen.
Do they have a better chance to win the series than they do tonight?
That I would say yes. Tonight's going to be difficult, but Game 1, right off of a game on Saturday, only one day off, they get right back at it. They can, keep that momentum going, if you will. It's going to be a very good series. I think it goes the distance of 7 on either side, whether it's New York or Philadelphia. It's going to be a fun one. It really is.
All right, lots of spice, lots of fun. Devon
Givens. You like how I did that? Like how I did that, Jen?
I did. You're good. Okay. You're trying to keep up. I like it.
All right.
Well, we do love following everything that you do on PHLY in terms of the Sixers. So we're on the bandwagon, and we appreciate you checking in. We know it's a busy day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Go Sixers.
Take care.
All right, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We've got weather. We've got more sports. We've got Chris O'Connell. We do have a lot happening today. We're happy you're here. And yeah, we'll talk about the things you're talking about, like the Met Gala, in just a few minutes. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick, and this is Philadelphia Live. We're going to be with you until 2 p.m. We're talking about the Met Gala. We're talking about sports. We're going to talk about finances. There's a big issue with your Social Security payments. We've got all of that covered, as well as what is happening right here in the city. Chris O'Connell is on that story. There's a hit and run involving a police vehicle. Is that right?
That is right, Jen. Happened early this morning. It did start as a hit and run, a police vehicle with the 18th district here around 49th and Spruce was hit by a car, a Tesla, a blue Tesla, who then, first of all, that officer was not injured, but that started, I don't know if it's a pursuit, but they led the police to here where that blue Tesla not only hit a Chevy Impala, but also crashed into the corner here at 50th and Walnut Streets. You see behind me what was a window, and the front window of this condo now is a makeshift door, has been repaired. That was left. I don't know if we have video of what happened early this morning, but it was a violent crash. It hit a Chevy Impala. That driver of that Impala was severely injured. You could see the trail of blood around the corner. We talked to the people who live here, Jen. They were awoken about 3:30 this morning. They use this as their photography studio. The reason why they use it as their photography studio is because a couple years ago, there were so many crashes, including one outside their door here a couple years ago where a car overturned. They changed their bedroom. They said it was too dangerous. They didn't want to sleep, and they were fearing something like this would happen. And 2 years later, it did. So the driver of that blue Tesla took off. Police are still looking for that driver. The driver of the Impala was taken to Penn Presbyterian Hospital. It is unknown on his condition, but the couple who lives here said he was seriously injured before an ambulance got here. But right now, police are looking for that driver. We're trying to get in touch with police to find out the description of that driver, who they're looking for, and any kind of surveillance video. As you can see, there's some surveillance cameras up here. We haven't gotten that video, but we're going to try to effort that video. But luckily, no one here was hurt in the middle of the night. That one driver of the Impala was taken to the hospital. Still no word on their condition, and no word yet if that driver has been caught.
You know, you think about a Tesla, and there's so much tech involved. You know, I have friends that have them. They can put it in a driverless mode. They can do all kinds of things. You have to believe the tech involved in it will be, in some ways, make it easier for the police to figure out where that car is, right? Or where the driver is.
Yeah, you would think so. And the big question, was it stolen? I mean, that is the big question. Is that driver left the car? Obviously hit after hitting a police car, after crashing into a Chevy, after crashing into someone's home, and then leaving. So there was a reason why that driver was leaving. Another thing, Jen, it wasn't April. It was just a couple weeks ago. 2 blocks from here, a person was killed along with their dog. 48th and Walnut, 2 blocks away from here. I can tell you 4 years ago, 3 people were killed 2 blocks at 52nd and Walnut on this way in a crash. Excuse me. But I can tell you, people here want some sort of speed restrictions, speed cushions or something to try to prevent the speed here on Walnut Street.
Okay, I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. I hope you get some water. It is crazy that they literally had to move their bedroom to a different location to avoid all of that. Chris, you're telling the story great. We appreciate it. And thanks for joining us. And again, go get some water.
Thank you. I will.
Okay. Quick 2-minute break. We're going to be right back. If you want it live, you got to be right here. I'll see you in 2 minutes. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. We're going to be with you live until 2 p.m. today, and we have many different layers of things that are happening throughout the day, all here in the Philadelphia area and then beyond. Speaking of which, at the Pentagon today, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is recognizing 2 National Guard members. They are getting the Soldier's Medal and the Airman's Medal for bravery following a shooting near the White House. We're going to listen in.
Governor, thank you. General, from 1 major to 2 majors. It's great to see you both. Senator, thank you. Mr. Chairman, up and down the line here, I just see great Americans. General, what an honor it truly is. I'm privileged to be standing up here looking out at this great audience, at this room full of great Americans and other great Americans joining us this morning. These heroes before us today, Major Ryan Reynolds and Major Edwin Stanfield, are part of a story that's as old as the scriptures, and I'll get there in a moment. But first, I look out and we see Eva Lee. We are with you today. We are praying for you. We are praying for your daughter, Sarah, what she gave for this nation. She is not forgotten. She is not forgotten today. She's not forgotten any day. And it is her memory that stiffens our resolve each and every day. So thank you for being here. Thank you for, from that night to today, the courage you've shown, the strength you've shown, and the support you've shown throughout the force, which means an incredible amount. And then Andy, one day I'm looking down at him in a hospital bed, the next day I'm looking up, he's throwing out the first pitch. An incredible human being, truly a miracle. You have a, Melody, you have a praying mother. and an incredible father. Melody and Jason, it's good to see you both and your family. Just from that bedside and those prayers and more prayers and more prayers to the miracle of today. What an honor it is to see you again, be with you again. So many great things in front of you. And again, it's the moments that day that are the reason we're here. A wounded American, a lost American, yet the display of heroism. So before I continue, I do want to, in memory of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, I'd like to do a moment of silent prayer, if you would. And amen. You mentioned a story as old as the scriptures. When the people of Gala were under attack by the Philistine army, their harvest being stolen from them, the people living in fear, the Lord said to David, "Save Gala." David and his men were wary, and he asked the Lord what he should do. And the Lord said, "Arise, and I will hand the Philistines to you." So David and his men answered the call, and they went. They fought the Philistines, wounded and killed them, and saved the people of Gala. These heroes before us today, they're also part of the story that played out on our rugged frontier. When the citizens of Dodge City, Kansas, were being terrorized, pillaged, and shot by marauders, a tough 30-year-old frontier marshal named Earp answered the call. He chased the attackers out of town, and during a midnight pursuit across the Arkansas River, downed the ringleader. There's a line about those days in the West that says, "You cannot submit to evil without allowing evil to grow." Each time the good are defeated, or each time they yield, they only cause the forces of evil to grow stronger. These heroes before us today, they're part of the story that unfolded 47 years ago in a place called Tehran. The 52 American hostages taken by Iranian terrorists for 444 days. When their captors demanded they denounce America, they refused. In defiance, one American wrote on the wall of his cell, Long live the red, white, and blue. And so, the two heroes before us today, their particular story culminates on the corner of 17th and I Streets in our nation's capital. A city that, when the Guardsmen were deployed, wasn't so different from that place in the Old Testament, or the American frontier, or Tehran. Lawless streets racked by gangs and bloodthirsty criminals. These Guardsmen, then and today, made our capital safe. So on a tranquil day, the day before Thanksgiving, there stood these two Americans, but these two.
So again, he's speaking with such honor and grace about the people that they are recognizing today. You see a live picture of the White House there. So we're going to go back to the Secretary of War. I do believe now is when the actual medal ceremony is happening. And remember, when the Secretary of War delivers medals, when he does this, he does it with the full authorization of the White House. It's one of the reasons why we're showing you a live picture of that right now. So again, we take you back to the ceremony.
Immediately to an active shooter incident that critically wounded 2 service members. After an armed assailant opened fire on National Guard members conducting routine security operations, Major Stanfield advanced towards the gunfire and the known danger area. Demonstrating exceptional composure, he assessed the situation, directed civilians to safety, and moved to assist the National Guard members who sustained life-threatening injuries. While still exposed to an uncertain and rapidly evolving threat, Major Stanfield took actions to subdue the assailant, then worked in concert with local law enforcement to secure the scene, maintain casualty care, and ensure the orderly arrival of emergency medical services. His leadership, calm execution, and unwavering commitment to securing the scene exemplified selfless service far beyond the normal call of duty. The exemplary heroism displayed by Major Stanfield reflects great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Please stand for the benediction delivered by Chaplain Clinton Tompkins.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, as we conclude this ceremony, it is my prayer that the legacy of these 2 men are forever honored. Oh God, it is in times like these, as we honor and recognize these heroic acts, that I am reminded of why heroism was warranted. It was warranted due to the evil in this world. We are reminded of how far humanity can be from the cross, but still yet how close the cross is to humanity. All due to your faithfulness, oh God. Lord, we ask your many blessings upon these men, their families, all of our service members, and our great nation. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the departure of the official party.
So again, 2 individuals both receive the Medal of Honor, and the Secretary of War being there with some members of his team to make sure that they were recognized. At the same time, we have some breaking news coming out of Berlin, Germany. Berlin, Germany, near the German city of Leipzig. You see it right there. A driver apparently plowed into people in the center of that German city, leaving 2 people dead. The city's fire service director has said that another 2 people seriously injured, taken to hospitals. Apparently, 20 people altogether have been affected by this without any more details in terms of their condition. No one really knows if there is a motive or what that motive could be, but that fire director, which we do believe is sort of like an authority, a first responder authority in the area of Germany, has said that the suspected perpetrator has been caught, and then he wants the people of that town to know, his words, there is no longer any danger. So as you see, there was a silver car there. It happened about 5 o'clock their time, and it was a street that kind of led in to their shopping area. So this city is southwest of Berlin. About 630,000 people live there. So one of the bigger cities in the area of eastern Berlin. So again, a car crashed into a crowd. 2 people are dead. 2 people have been taken to the hospital, and we really do not know much more than that. 5 p.m. their time is when all of this was going on. We are going to take a quick 2-minute break from Germany to Washington to Philadelphia. If it's happening live, we've got it. It is an event that people in Burlington County, New Jersey look forward to every year. And now there are some big concerns with the annual Spring Carnival. Jenny Joyce is on that story for us. Good afternoon, Jenny.
Good afternoon, Jen. Yeah, so we started our day in Maple Shade. So Maple Shade had a carnival last weekend to benefit the Youth Tigers football program. And Friday night, apparently melee erupted. There were between 300 and 500 teenagers. There were multiple fights. There were kids running, almost like a stampede is essentially what police told us happened there. So there were arrests. There are charges forthcoming. We moved over to Medford, New Jersey. We just talked to a captain here at Medford Police Department because they have a carnival coming up next week that they're preparing for, and they put out a statement online just saying, hey, you know, we're not messing around. Here are the rules. So we know that there are a number of rules in place, which Maple Shade had as well. They even said that they had additional police officers there just to try to ensure safety. And what happened was the chaos kind of spilled even outside of the carnival grounds. grounds. So it's very upsetting. We talked to the president of the youth football program that said they ended up having to cancel the Saturday night, the last night of the carnival, when they could have made, $15,000. That's huge for a youth football program, and they needed that money. So we're going to be talking about all of that tonight at 5 and 6. And here in Medford, they're saying, hey, this is a benefit for a local school, a local church. They are hoping that their carnival can go on as planned without any issues. They will also have increased security at that site, which we're heading to next just to check out. We know that there are a lot of carnivals happening all over the area. Belmar, New Jersey has theirs this week as well, which has also had problems in the past. So it's a big issue for police departments trying to get ahead of it, trying to stay on top of it when you have these massive crowds of teens. Essentially, in Maple Shade, the police officer that we talked to said that it was like the teens were trying to provoke police. So it was infighting, teens fighting teens, and then also trying to provoke police officers, wearing masks, making their job very difficult. So again, police are joining forces. We know that multiple departments responded in Maple Shade. So we know police are on standby, right? And we don't want issues, because at the end of the day, it's about community, and it's about fundraising for local churches, schools, organizations that could really use this money. Jen.
Are they doing this for social media? Why are they even doing this? I mean, have they mentioned, I hate to blame everything on social media, but have they said what's different in 2026 than years in the past?
Well, so ironically, sadly, Maple Shade has had problems at their carnival in years past also. And I remember, Jen, I don't know if you remember, growing up, that carnivals always had their issues, right? And I don't know why. I don't know if it's that age group. I don't know. The officer that we talked to in Maple Shade said there was nothing that was essentially organized for a teenage meetup. There was nothing that they've been able to discover thus far, but so we don't know. We don't know why that's the scene of the chaos, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully they'll listen, and the kids will want to do better because they want the carnival to be a part of their school traditions. That's all we can hope for. Jenny Joyce, thank you
Absolutely.
For your help today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go from kids being accused of some yucky to, how about this? Why are we looking at Lincoln Financial Field? By the way, this is a live image. It is beautiful. I'm here to tell you that the state of New Jersey kind of cooperated with the Philadelphia Eagles, and now flag football will be its a varsity sport. It's the 21st state to do this, and New Jersey had a lot of cooperation. The Eagles were a partner since 2023. I have to mention this because I don't know why, but the Giants were also a partner. Remember, they're on the other side of New Jersey. So both of these teams really making sure that this could happen. So 4 years in the pilot stage, flag football finally become the 35th sport sanctioned by the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association. And so starting in the fall, it will be a varsity sport for the 2026-2027 school year. The vote to sanction flag football as the newest sport, it was basically overwhelming, 311 to 18. It is the second new sport welcomed in the last 3 years. Girls ice hockey got the approval in 2024. And I can tell you, there are colleges, Newman University in Delaware County among them. They are recruiting girls from around the country to play flag football on their teams. It's interesting because when you think about flag football in high school and college, you really are thinking about it as a girls' sport, specifically because there is a boys' version of football that we're so familiar with. And then when you think about the fact that we know in the Olympics, the next Olympics, there will be flag football, but that will be a men's sport. We know that there are people who play around the world. Vince Papale's son, Vince Papale, legendary Eagles player, Invincible, the movie was written about him. His son played at the University of Delaware, and he is on the Italian flag football team. He intends to play for either Italy or the United States when it comes to the Olympics. So just a little bit of background there. It's interesting that adult males are mostly playing flag football, but when you think about high school and college, it is the girls. And what is also interesting about this, many of the women who play flag football, young women, they're multi-sport athletes. A lot of them just needed a spring sport. In many schools, it is a spring sport. So you're looking at girls who might play soccer in the fall, maybe track in the winter, or basketball. They were looking for a true spring sport. I like lacrosse for women because I'm a lacrosse mom, but that's just my personal preference. But it's been really cool to see. And you know, many schools in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, even if they don't have a varsity program, they will have like a limited run. In the Lower Merion School District every year for the past 10 years, they have had, you know, basically 2 weeks of flag football where the girls play, the boys coach. And those 2-week, you know, traditions have really been about community, getting the kids together. The seniors, the juniors, the sophomores, and the freshmen all play on teams. They play against each other, actually. And then many of those, you know, games and training opportunities just really become big community builders. So again, New Jersey will now be the 21st state to have flag football as a varsity sport, due in large part because of the support they received, the high schools in South Jersey, from your Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to come back in just 2 minutes. It's just one of the sports stories we're talking about. We did talk about basketball. You know we're going to talk about hockey. So many things are happening. Even the Phillies are playing tonight. We've got your whole schedule coming up. All right, guys, we do have a bit of breaking information coming out of the U.S. Supreme Court. Justice Samuel Alito has issued an order, and that order allows continued access to what people have called the abortion pill. Basically, there was a big situation where in a federal court, just to give you some type of context here, a federal appeals court earlier temporarily restricted access to the abortion pill, and that was prompting manufacturers to seek the Supreme Court intervention to restore full access. And these federal appeals courts were saying, you know, because you can mail this pill from state to state, that it was a way where people who wanted to access that pill in states where abortion was not allowed could get access to that pill. So remember, the administration and many people believe that the right to an abortion is a state issue. So we know this. We had heard where there were severe restrictions in Texas and other states. But again, what was happening here earlier, remember, a federal appeals court restricted access to that pill on the basis of the fact that people could go state to state and mail that pill. Basically, the appeals court restricted people from prescribing it and mailing it, all that stuff. But now today, just moments ago, we have heard from the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is restoring access to the abortion pill through telehealth, mail, and pharmacy. So what that means is if you are in any state in the United States and you want access to this pill, you can get it. Interestingly, Justice Samuel Alito was the one who issued the order, and he was also the one who said he will not be requiring any in-person visits with a physician. That was one of the things that many of the people who didn't like this idea were fighting against. They were saying they could be in a different state, seek a physician's order, and go around the state order within their own state. Now, the order is temporary. It lasts just one more week until both sides can respond to this order that came from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will then review this case once again. And just so you know, the majority of U.S. abortions are medication-based. And this medication in particular is a key component in the majority of the abortions that are happening in the United States. So again, this was something that was sent to the Supreme Court. It happened on Monday, just moments ago. The rules had been in effect for several years where you could seek a telemedicine appointment, you could seek medicine or medical care from other people in other states. That all came to the end when a federal appeals court imposed these new restrictions. So again, it will be interesting to see where this goes. So Justice Alito has said temporarily for 1 week, he has lifted the restrictions that came from the federal appeals court. And again, both sides of this case will get the opportunity to argue their side of it in front of the Supreme Court. Interestingly, you know, this is the end of their session, right? We had heard just a few days or weeks ago that they were, you know, wrapping up some of the things. It is May, after all. We do know that they do take a break in the summer. So many of these cases don't get a chance to be heard until the session. Some Democratic-led states have enacted laws to protect the doctors who are prescribing abortion drugs via telehealth to their patients who might be in other states. Remember, in some instances, the states have chosen to ban the abortions and then sanction physicians who may have gone around their bans. And so it's interesting that some of these states have chosen to try and protect their doctors who are involved in multi-state telehealth medical appointments. So the manufacturers of this specific drug, which is hard to pronounce, they are the ones who sought an emergency appeal from the Supreme Court. And again, Justice Samuel Alito has lifted the restriction on multi-state distribution of this specific abortion pill. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We're going to be right back. If it's breaking news, you're going to see it right here. Welcome back in, everybody. We are showing you this beautiful day because it is a beautiful day. When you woke up this morning, it was still chilly. You probably layered on a little bit, but certainly it was nothing like yesterday. Yesterday definitely felt like winter number 11 of 2026. We had spring, then we had some 90-degree days, and then man, did Mother Nature decide to tell us who is in charge. And so yes, yesterday was winter number 11 if you're keeping track. The good news is it is gorgeous out and the temperature is continuing to climb. Sue Serio, Kathy Orr, and the rest of your weather team have told us that if you like today, you are going to love tomorrow. Again, we're supposed to be in the 70s today. We're expected to be in the 80s tomorrow, sunny and a high of 82 as we look at the weather cameras in and around our region. And, a lot of people, Mother's Day is at the end of this week. We know that when we go to our nurseries and different places that sell plants, they always say, do not start planting until Mother's Day. And then look at that, Cinco de Mayo, fiesta for everyone. Sunny skies, quite warm. Cinco de Mayo is tomorrow, May the 5th. A lot of people really like to have their tacos. They like to have their margaritas. They want to be on a rooftop deck or something like that. And it looks like Mother Nature is going to say, see, you can do that. So we're really looking forward to that. There'll be a couple of rainy days this week. Mother's Day itself, by the way, looking very, very nice. So we'll talk about the weather and sports as we go through for the rest of our day. The other thing that's happening, city officials are kicking off the summer edition of their One Philly, a United City cleaning program. And that is where we find Shayna this afternoon. Hey, Shayna.
Hey, Jen. Yeah, so we're actually live where all the action is actually happening. You're looking live at the Alligators. This is the new iteration of this year's City Clean and Green initiatives, where we have a host of men in these blue shirts that you see here cleaning up the alleys along the city. And the goal over the next 13 weeks is to clean every single alley in the city of Philadelphia through the end of July. And so this is really the city's effort in making sure that they can improve quality of life while also making sure that things look better and feel better for residents. And so this is the first day that we're seeing these guys really get to work. They have their equipment. If you can see all of those trees that they're pretty much cutting down at this point, they have the machinery to do so, making these alleys more accessible to the residents that struggle to get to their own houses. It's also hoping to address a lot of the illegal dumping issues that we often see in the city as well. And so this is a chance for folks to get involved, call the city, so you can make sure that the alligators can make it to your neighborhood and get that work done. And so this is the first day that they're out here. And so we've been hearing from city officials like Carlton Williams, who's the director of clean and green initiatives for the city, as well as a number of other people that really made this opportunity happen. And so live look at here in Kensington, we're all at the 3000 block of East Street, right by McPherson Park. So this is where the action is happening, and we're seeing it live here. So you'll hear more from these folks coming up later on in the shows.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. When you call and you try to get some help, like how long does it take for them to get to you? Do you have any idea?
So it can vary really, because they're really hoping that people go online. There is a website that you can go on outside of 311. I think a lot of times people usually use the 311 hotline to call. But what makes the alligators, situation different is that there's an actual dedicated website where people actually put their information down and they can follow up to ensure that the alley is clean and stays clean. So in terms of the timeline, I'm not sure. We're just introducing the concept to the city today through this story. And so the hope is that they can really get on that once folks kind of get an understanding of how they can get on the radar.
I love it. I love it. You don't know this, Shayna, but years ago I had this segment and it was called What's Bugging You? And people would email us and get with us and tell us about things like that. So I'm happy that the city is doing their own version of it, because we want this city looking pretty spiffy in a month. Actually, next week the PGA comes. It's time to get spiffy.
it's time to get spiffy. And the good news about all of it too, and I asked this specifically because oftentimes when we have these initiatives coming down right during something as massive as America 250, PGA, all these great, exciting events that are coming to our city, the question that often we get is this just for show because we have, hundreds of thousands of people coming, or is this something long term? And I was able to ask that question today, and I was told that this is going to go well beyond America 250, that this is something that they're hoping to continue implementing and working through for years to come. So good news there.
That is the great news. All right, Shayna, it's a beautiful day. Do your work, but have a little sunshine break if you can.
Thank you. Will do.
Okay. All right, we are now going to go to the Acting Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche. He is working with the Secretary of Agriculture. It's a big press conference where they're talking about an antitrust investigation of meat packers. We're going to listen in and just hear what's going on.
All right, good morning, everybody. Today we are here to talk about our progress here at the Justice Department to hold meat packers accountable. As you all know, last November, the President tasked the department to investigate the costs and prices of beef. As a result, we prioritized investigating potential antitrust violations in U.S. cattle and beef markets. In the beef industry, the big four processors control over 85% of the beef processing market. Two of the big four are primarily foreign-owned. Multiple plant closures across the country, the current market structure, and high concentration in the industry indicate anti-competitive activity. Since the President's executive order, the department has been actively investigating with a review of over 3 million documents. Hundreds of industry participants, including ranchers, cattlemen, producers, and processors, have been contacted and many interviewed as part of this ongoing investigation. More broadly, the department has also executed on the President's executive order to stop anti-competitive behavior in the broader food supply market. Later this week, we will be announcing an historic settlement that will directly affect the prices of proteins like chicken, pork, and turkey. This business model allows competitors to exchange competitively sensitive information on every aspect of the protein industry and has raised the prices on chicken, raised the prices on pork, and raised the prices on turkey. The department is also working closely with Secretary Rollins and the Department of Agriculture. We've signed a memorandum of understanding that allows us to share information aimed at protecting competition in agricultural inputs like seeds and fertilizer. But there is more work to do, and we need your help. I want to remind everyone and anyone in the industry that if you have information about antitrust crimes, about price fixing, bid rigging, market allocation, or even procurement fraud, the Department of Justice wants to hear from you. Through our Whistleblower Rewards program, which we do in partnership with the United States Postal Inspection Service, you can be financially rewarded for coming forward with information about this behavior. Just to put a fine point on it, if the information you provide helps us secure a criminal penalty in excess of $1 million, you can be entitled to recover and receive 15 to 30% of the money that we recover. So whether you're a farmer, a purchaser, a processor, you can help protect food security in America by reporting these types of violations and potentially criminal conduct. We will use every law enforcement tool available to help reduce food prices and vigorously enforce the antitrust laws to ensure every aspect of the agricultural industry competes on a fair playing field. Now I would like to to introduce our great Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary Brooke Rollins.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and a very hearty and vigorous thank you to our Acting Attorney General. He's only been on the job for, I think, a couple of weeks at this point, and the moment I called and asked for his time and his focus and his team's effort on this issue facing our country, without hesitation, Todd, you said we're all in at the Department of Justice. And so here we are today and just couldn't be more grateful. I've got a couple of larger comments to put this in context. Then I know my great partner, Director Peter Navarro from the White House, we've worked together a long time, has some thoughts. And then really the stars of the show are our ranchers who are here from Colorado, from Texas, from the West, from Idaho, and they'll have a couple of thoughts too. And then I think we'll take a couple questions at the end. Again, what an honor it is to be here alongside Attorney General Blanche. Thank you for your strong leadership, and of course the incredible Peter Navarro, our Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy, also joined by several members of the ranching community. Todd, Peter, and I each serve the American public in different capacities across the executive branch at the pleasure of our boss, President Donald Trump. But we are united by a single mission: to protect our great American farmers and ranchers, the American way of life, and the American consumer. President Trump has been the greatest champion in American history for our farmers and ranchers, from record-breaking investments in rural America through the Working Families Tax Cuts to opening up the global market, now 18 new trade deals for our incredible American ag products, and to most recently implementing a plan to fortify the American beef industry. And these efforts couldn't be more timely for America's ranchers, who are seeing a historic low herd size. This morning, I'll talk a little bit about and summarize that herd size crisis facing our ranchers, but how the ongoing investigation into our Big Four packers, what that means for the larger policy context, and certainly what it means for national security. Let's begin with the herd size. As of January 1st of this year, we have about 86.2 million head of cattle and calves in America. That is the lowest since the 1950s, and this year we're looking to be slightly down again. In the past decade alone, we've lost over 17% of our cattle ranchers. More than 100,000 ranches across this country are no more. The low herd size inherited by the Trump administration can be attributed to a variety of factors. The biggest one, at least from our perspective, is the radical left's ongoing assault against ranching as a way of life. For years, they used climate alarmism to wage a war on cattle in America. And when you pair that with droughts, wildfire, overregulation from previous administrations, and volatile markets, this is how we have ended up here today. Growing the herd size is an immediate problem in need of solutions, and we've already begun implementing across the government and into the states how we're going to solve for that. And we'll talk more about that as we move through the week. But already on the grazing allotments, we've opened up millions of acres in the West. We unveiled our new product of the USA, which is catching like fire across the country in a good way, labeling meat and poultry and egg products as actually born, raised, harvested, and processed in America, which is a new rule. Expanding the grading pilot program to include 88 facilities in 32 states. That's smaller processors. Reducing holiday and overtime inspection fees for small processors. Of course, encouraging our child nutrition programs. You all have heard me say over and over, USDA.
So again, that's the Secretary of Agriculture. The Department of Justice is basically revealing that, you know, there are some antitrust investigations going on, and they revolve around the major meat packers. It's just one of the things that we're looking at for you guys today. The other thing that we are talking about, sports, we're talking about more news, and tonight it is the first Monday in May. And for many people, they know what that means. It is the Met Gala. Who are the hosts? What is the theme? Who is expected to be there? Who is expected not to be there? We have an expert for you. Jake is up in just 2 minutes. All right, here on Philadelphia Live, we depend on our experts to help us with many things. We had a physician talking about that deadly virus. We've had some people with sports. And now we have Jake Leonard here to tell us exactly what he thinks is going to happen tonight at the Met Gala red carpet. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Happy Met Monday.
Happy Met Monday to all that celebrate.
Yes.
Okay, so I know this is our last person, but I just want to give a little tease. We will be asking, will Timothy choose the Nets over the Met? We'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, let's talk about the co-chairs.
Okay.
First of all, we have Nicole Kidman.
Yes, Nicole Kidman. You know, I feel like Nicole Kidman has kind of been keeping a low profile, but also not. You know, she's going through the divorce. That's a big story. I feel like she hasn't had like a really big public event where she might show up in like a revenge dress.
Ooh.
So this could be a good opportunity for her. I mean, the last thing I heard about her was that she was planning on being a death doula. So this is kind of like a 180.
Remind people what the costume is, what the theme, what the dress is.
Okay. So there's always a theme that is costume fashion.
Okay.
So, and then the dress code is fashion is art.
Fashion is art. And I think we've seen her even on the Oscar red carpet, big bold bows and things of that. So we're expecting big things.
Yes, I feel like this Met is going to be very, very extravagant.
Architectural.
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be a really cool one.
Venus Williams.
Yes, Venus.
Loves to be in all things fashion.
Yes.
She has a line that they sell right here in QVC.
Yes.
You're expecting big things from her?
Oh my gosh. Venus always shows up and shows out.
Yeah.
You know, like she's going to be awesome. I think there's a really good combination of co-chairs.
Yeah.
I think they all bring something different. I think Venus is a good choice because of she's known as like a fashion icon. You know, everyone's always looking at her. So I think she was a good choice
but also
for this
sports,
year.
The world of sport, especially female sports with the WNBA.
Totally, so relevant.
Women's sports is a big forefront. All right. It has been more than a decade since our queen, Beyonce, has been there.
Yes. I am so excited about this.
Okay, so what are you predicting here? What are you thinking?
Okay, I could spend 2 hours talking about this,
Yes.
but I'll shorten it.
Thank you.
Basically, so if you don't know, Beyonce's been doing a trilogy of albums, and we're gearing up for Act 3, which a lot of people are suspecting to be a rock album.
Oh.
So a lot of people are thinking, I'm thinking she's gonna begin the era tonight. She's gonna come onto the carpet in some sort of rock inspired outfit, maybe even give us an album announcement, a single. I think there's gonna be big things coming because she's very calculated, you know, and she's seen when she wants to be seen. So the fact that she's doing it this year is kind of a big deal.
It's with purpose.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, Anne Hathaway has had such a big month with The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Yes.
Big, bold things. We're expecting nothing but that.
Yes, she is so booked and busy this year. She's like in, I think, 6+ movies. And I mean, Devil Wears Prada, fashion. Like I can see some some sort of maybe stunt that goes along with the movie, some sort of bold statement. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Harry Styles and Zoe Kravitz, we know they're a couple. There's been a rumor that they were recently engaged.
Yes.
They have not publicly said it's true.
No.
But we know both of them will be attending.
We know Zoe will be there.
Okay.
We're not sure about Harry.
Got
it'll be interesting to see. I don't even think they've done like an official red carpet together at this point.
Either.
So it'll be interesting to see if this is kind of their debut.
Another no is Zendaya.
Zendaya is a no, which a lot of people are upset about. I'm upset about it because I feel like she always has one of the most extravagant looks. She's one of the people that people are talking about the most. So the fact that she's not going is a pretty big loss.
Okay, and then the last thing I said, will there be Timothy at the Nets game or will Timothy attend the Met? So this time last year, as you'll recall, he's dating Kylie Jenner.
Of course.
And we've seen both of them on the court for the Nets,
Yes.
Knicks. Huge Knicks fan. Last year he chose the Knicks over the Met.
Yes.
What do you think he'll do this year?
I think he's going to do the Met because I feel like he's been after the Oscars and the whole ballet controversy. He's been keeping a very low profile. I think the Met is always an extravagant event. You know, there's going to be a lot of eyes.
Be there for his girl.
Yes. I feel like this could kind of almost be his comeback Because you know Kylie's going to be there in a fabulous dress.
And it will be interesting to see the Kardashians as a unit.
Yes.
With Beyonce as a unit. Like, Beyonce's not going to be there by herself.
Yes. No, of course not.
No, she's going to have a crew.
Of course. It's going to be a really good night. I think this might go down in Met history. I know that's a big statement, but I think it's a really great theme. The co-chairs are awesome. Like, I'm expecting a lot. I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Jake, thank you for being our expert.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. He could have gone anywhere, but he went to Temple.
Yeah.
That's like the theme there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Get lost. All right, that's Jake. Quick 2-minute break. We are going to talk hockey. Game 1 was what many people predicted, even though they didn't like that. Game 2 happens tonight in Raleigh. We've got the guy to get us through it in 2 minutes.
Woo, that was so fun.
Very nice. My guy, Bill Matz, talking about the Flyers. It is on. It is happening. You know this. He works with PHLY. Hello. First of all, how are you?
I'm well, Jen. I am well. You know, game 1 was it was kind of what I expected. The Carolina Hurricanes, they are a entirely different level from the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Flyers clearly, especially in the first 10, 15 minutes of that first period, really looked like a team that had not played at that level before. And we know how many guys made their playoff debuts, or at least their playoff debuts in front of a crowd for the first time in that Penguins series. And now it's just about rebounding. It's about responding. It's about taking what you learned in that absolute beatdown that the Flyers suffered in game 1 and turn it into, all right, how can we make this a competitive series? And I think we will see a better showing from the Flyers tonight.
Okay, so the Flyers faithful, they were saying this. They had 16 hours to figure out when their game was going to be. The turnaround was ridiculous. You know, it was, many people have said it was almost like a game 7 of the first round because it was so close to game 6. So they, you know, you didn't want them to have too much time off, but they really got, I'm going to say it again, 16 hours from when they kind of found out about when the game was until they had to get on an airplane. Obviously, they slept in. We know that hockey, napping is everything, especially for their goalie. They do the skate around, then they have to take their nap. So even like physically, forget about mentally looking at what happened, physically you think they're going to look better, yes?
Yes, absolutely. There won't be the rushed travel. There won't be the question of Well, when is the game? Oh, okay. We found out at 11:40 the night, a day and a half before we're actually going to play the game. There was a whole lot that worked against the Flyers in that first game. Now, no excuses. The Carolina Hurricanes are just the better team, and it is going to take an effort by one or more Flyers to play above the level that they have thus far if they are going to turn this into a more competitive series. But there were a lot of question marks just in terms of when the game would be played, when they would be traveling, all of that just really came together very last minute simply because the NHL realized, oh, all of those series that could have gone 7 that would have ended up on Saturday, all of them ended in 6. We don't have a primetime Saturday night game. Let's do the Flyers. And now at least we have a set schedule, and those sorts of obstacles won't be as big an issue.
Speaking of obstacles, Owen Tippett, how important is he to this offense? I realize that he is a game-time decision tonight. He did not play on Saturday. I think we've heard the names of, Porter Martone. We've heard Dan Vladar. We've certainly TK and everything. And Owen is in the conversation, but he wasn't like name number 1 until Saturday. And now everyone's like, we need this guy. What does he add and how important is he?
Owen Tippett is one of the fastest players in the league. He's one of the biggest forwards on this Flyers team. He's one of their best physical presences, and he's one of the few guys who can create his own shot with his speed and his skill and then beat a goalie clean when he does. Now, he has been playing in these playoffs. He has been playing since the end of the regular season with some sort of injury that has been hampering him. And with the short turnaround, they felt it best to sit him out of game 1 in hopes that he could play the rest of the series. I am optimistic he'll play tonight. How effective he'll be, because this is an injury he's been dealing with for a few weeks, I'm not sure. But if you watch that game 1, Carolina is very fast, and they're very good at getting it on the forecheck and owning puck possession. Owen Tippett is one of the guys who can make a play defensively and turn that into offense, get the play going the other way, and hopefully set up some possession. He's one of their better play drivers. They miss him a lot. Even in his weakened state, he is a guy who can, if you're going to try to steal a game, make those 1 or 2 plays that makes that possible. And they've missed him a ton. I'm hoping he is back tonight.
So we don't know what's wrong with him? They haven't said? Don't they have to tell us?
The NHL is very, very secretive when it comes to injury reporting. It's been this way forever. I thought once gambling was legalized, they would suddenly have to be a little more like the NFL and actually divulge what injuries are. But there is the constant fear, especially in the playoffs, of, oh, your wrist is hurt. Well, guess what I'm going to do? Slash your wrist. Oh, it's your knee. I'm going to go knee on knee with you. That is a constant fear in the NHL. And so injuries are reported as little as possible. I have heard a general manager refer to an injury as a body injury before. Not even give upper or lower. Just, oh, it's a body injury.
All right. So who has to get hot tonight? We know that Porter Martone was fearless those first 3 games. How do they get him hot again? And obviously, we heard about this. The Hurricanes are lethal in their speed. How do we play defensively to help out Dan Vladar on May the 4th?
Yes, it's going to take another big effort from Dan Vladar. He's going to have to be one of their best players. Today being May the 4th, we have Darth Vladar in net. I'm feeling a good bounce back game for him. In front of him, though, Porter Martone, Travis Konechny, hopefully Owen Tippett, maybe Matvei Mishkov makes an appearance after a rough game 1 himself. It's going to take crowding the Carolina Hurricanes, not letting them build speed through the neutral zone, and then capitalize on the opportunities you do get. It's not as if the Flyers were without scoring opportunities in game 1. It's just that when they did get them, Freddie Anderson was there to shut the door. They are going to have to be efficient. They will be outshot in this series. They will be outchanced in this series. But the chances and shots they do get, they have to make count. They didn't do that in game 1.
All right. And you think that Rick Tocchet, the head coach, is the guy to really get them humming, get them going, get them focused, get them ready for this game?
Rick Tocchet has gotten them this far. I had my questions about the hiring of Tocchet back when they did it last summer, but to see where this team was, the fourth worst team in hockey last year, all the way to a round 1 win this year, third in the division, won more games than the second place team in the division. I really think that he has done a solid job, and after watching how game 1 went, he will have some sort of counterattack, some sort of adjustment to hopefully slow down Carolina.
All right. I'm going to ask you what I asked Devon earlier. I need you to give it to me straight. Not a lot of all your business. Do they win tonight? Do they win the series? What do you say?
Flyers win 2-1 tonight. I am not as optimistic about the series, Jen.
No! All right. Well, at least they bring it home and maybe make it okay.
Make it a little fun for the home fans, games 3 and 4.
All right. I am on board. I think they could pull it out. I think that youth can win over this whole thing. I think we talked about this last week, that there's so much pressure on this Carolina team that hopefully the Flyers can do it. Wait, do you think the Sixers are going to win?
I do. The Sixers seem to really have something going right now. It's I watched a lot of that Game 7 whenever I got a chance. We had both games on, and it just feels like they're riding something they haven't had in the past, with a little bit of health and a little bit of house money, a little bit of those good vibes. It's always been pressure, and now it feels like the pressure is alleviated from that team.
All right. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your insight. We'll be checking in, I'm sure, during the week. We'll also be following everything that you guys do at PHLY. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care, Jen.
Okay. One of the things that you guys have been looking for on the internet, because we get the analytics, is what's going on with Social Security. In just 2 minutes, we're going to have an expert. We'll be able to ask her anything and everything about what is changing and maybe what hasn't changed in just 2 minutes. Welcome back in, everybody. One of the things that we do as we try to figure out what you want to see, what you want to hear, everything you want to experience live, is we take a look sometimes at what you guys are looking for on the internet and beyond. And one of the things is, apparently there's some pretty major changes coming up with Social Security in your future. So we have Anna Rathbun. She is the CEO and founder of Grenadilia Advisory. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so you have a smile on your face, but I think these changes, which again probably won't happen until 2032, are not going to make people happy.
Yes, but remember, it's not until 2032 and it's 2026. There are things that you can do to plan. Now, what is happening is that there was a study out that came out and basically said that Social Security Trust is going to go bankrupt earlier than expected. And that what that means for everybody is that the benefit is going to drop. So we're talking about think 100% benefits down to about 23, 25% down. So about 75 to 77% of your previous benefits. So that is a big drop. If you have $2,000 from the Social Security, that will mean something around $1,400 a month. So that is a meaningful change.
And again, it's a study, it's a prediction, it's years off. But you are an analyst. I understand you went to Harvard. You're probably the smartest person in the room right now. Do you believe the study?
Well, I'm alone in the room, so the studies. We've been talking about Social Security Trust going bankrupt for a very, very long time, for decades, all of my adult life, and so this is something that has been kicked down the can that's been kicked down the road. Now, there is a possibility that Congress may step in the 11th hour and rescue Social Security. That has happened in the past. It is highly unpopular thing politically for benefits to drop by 23, 25%. So I would expect there to be a lot of different types of outcomes on Social Security and not take it too seriously.
Okay, if you're in your 40s and you're in your 50s, you got kids in college, you're paying for school, you want to go on a vacation, at the same time you want to protect your future, what are you telling your clients?
Okay, so if you are thinking, if you're 40s and 50s and you're still working, I would put your frame of mind a little more conservatively and don't tell yourself you're going to be relying on Social Security for your retirement years. Think about all of the savings either in your 401k or traditional IRA. Think about contributing to a Roth IRA or converting so that you have different pockets of savings other than Social Security that you can rely on in your future years. And don't forget taxes. Different investments get taxed differently. So diversifying the different types of investing and different types of savings is very, very important as you look out 15, 20 years into retirement.
Okay, and then we always look at this when we have you guys, and by I mean our financial experts. Yesterday, the New York Stock Exchange, last week, the New York Stock Exchange was in the green for most of the week, not a big correction. And then this morning, just so you know, I go out into the world from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. The radio was going nuts about what was happening and headed our way because they saw the European trends. So I was like, yo, we got to talk about that. What is happening today there?
So everyone knows that ceasefire took place starting April 7th. And since then, there's been a lot of confusing rhetoric coming from the Middle East and the United States. The markets kind of shrugged that off because, frankly, corporate earnings have been very, very powerful. But what's different about today is that there seems to be some skepticism about whether or not that ceasefire is going to hold because there's been some kinetic action. So seems to be some drone action happening in the United Arab Emirates, and there's been missile warnings, et cetera. So there's this fear that maybe the ceasefire is going to end and that maybe we might be entering back into a kinetic war. And that's the fear that's driving the markets today.
All right. Anna, I have to say this. You gave it to us exactly like we like it. We need the information. It can't be too complicated because we're all busy working from home, doing different things. Sure. So I really appreciate you popping on. I know you're a busy woman. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Have a good rest of your day. All right, quick 2-minute break. Glad that she explained it the way that she did. I'm disappointed that the market is doing what it's doing, but we're going to plan and we're going to try and get you the best information we have. Welcome back in, everybody. There was a DOJ, a Department of Justice briefing happening. The Acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, as well as the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. We're going to dip back in. They're talking about some issues with meat packing and bad business. We're going to continue to listen in.
You all moving forward. With that, we'll take questions, hopefully on topic, but yes, go ahead. If you'll introduce yourself as well.
Leah Nyland from Bloomberg. So the Justice Department had opened a meatpacking investigation in 2020 and closed it last year. Can you tell us what is different about this investigation into meatpacking?
We open and close investigations regularly. I think that circumstances change, whether it's circumstances within the Department of Justice and priorities that we have, but also within the industry. And you just heard a lot of facts and numbers and data and statistics that explain why we're doing our investigation now, why we started it last year. And these investigations, at the risk of stating the obvious, are difficult. They take time. They take a lot of data processing of information provided by the industry, by everybody up and down the chain, and then also meetings and talking to witnesses. So I'm not going to explain or justify why a different administration shut down a different investigation, but this investigation, like we talked about, is being done, I assure you, for the right reasons, given not only what President Trump directed in the executive order, but the reality of the industry right now.
I can tell you the big difference is velocity, intent, and actual action. And you're going to see in this settlement that it is going to unleash a set of forces that are going to ripple through this industry rapidly and in a way which is going to allow us to get to the bottom of this. So this is a new regime. This is a new form of moving, and it's at Trump speed.
And just very quickly, I will say, I think that perhaps more than ever before in American history, we now realize the threat to our sovereignty, to our freedom, to our liberty, as we look in total at the consolidation in America, but also perhaps the biggest priority would be the consolidation at the hands of foreign countries and foreign-owned companies. And we're not here today to talk about, for example, China owning U.S. farmland, but in 1983, China owned 2,000 acres. Today, they own almost 300,000 acres. 20 years ago, there were 40 fertilizer companies providing nitrogen fertilizer. Today, there are 3. Seeds, the same. It is a national security issue, and at the same time, we're losing thousands of these producers every year. So I think when you take all of that in total, you take an extremely aggressive president who wants to stand by rural America, return prosperity to rural America, stand by his ranchers and his farmers, make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep that way of life alive and vibrant and vigorous. I think that would explain why we're doubling down today. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Dave Michaels with the Wall Street Journal. You're appealing for whistleblowers today, so are you confirming it's a criminal investigation? And then you're blaming the foreign meat packers. Are you going to focus on the foreign meat packers? How are you going to charge only foreign meat packers if you have a 4-member cartel?
I mean, I'm not going to jump to conclusions around what the results of the investigation will be. That wouldn't be fair to the folks here at the department that are working it, or to the meat packers that we're investigating. The idea of whistleblowers, of people coming forward with information they have, is one of the best and most efficient ways that we can solve antitrust violations, criminally or otherwise. And so we just want to make sure people realize, that people in this industry realize that we're putting money where our mouth is. We're not asking you to come forward and then see what happens. We're saying, if you come forward and if your information results in a finding.
All right, so we're listening into that. At the same time, we are learning out of Ventura, California, that Britney Spears has pled guilty. She's pled guilty to a version of driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. She's 44 years old. You probably remember this. She was arrested because she was found driving, according to police, under the influence. She did go to a rehab center, and she has completed her trip at the rehabilitation facility. Basically, what she has pled guilty to is commonly called a wet reckless. Basically, that allows her to be sentenced to 1 day in jail. The judge said that she already served that when she was booked. She will also agree to 1 year of probation, and she has to attend a required DUI class. She's also going to have to pay some fines. This plea offer is basically standard for defendants who have no DUI history, no crash or injury, and a lower blood alcohol level. So the county's district attorney said, especially for defendants like this, they've shown a motivation to address the issue and seek treatment. This is one of the things that they can offer them. Again, Britney Spears did voluntarily check in to a substance abuse treatment center last month. So again, Britney Spears has pled guilty to this wet reckless charge after the DUI arrest. 2 minutes, we're going to be right back, and we'll see you then.